Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, coming again today, you're very, very welcome. How great to see you all here. I trust you enjoyed my last video on American icon composer Harry Nilsson. Through his song, Everyone's Talking at Me, we looked at just being ourselves and doing what we do. So I trust you found that one encouraging. We're going from there from 1994 to Worcestershire in the UK. And although his parents divorced, this guy was very, very much supported by his parents. And this is a classic case of where reality music TV shows actually do their job. Because it was an X Factor 2010 that although he didn't get through, he did with Niall, Liam, Louis and Zayn, and of course together with Harry Styles, who we're talking about today, formed One Direction. In 2011, how good was Simon Cowell here? He actually thought, well, actually, these five boys together aren't much, but put them together, we're going to have an absolute powerhouse on our hands. And in 2011, they got signed to Simon's label, and the Up All Night album was absolutely massive for these boys. And because of that, we pretty much had a mania on our hand here. There's been a few manias, basically the Rollers, ABBA, the Beatles, One Direction, I reckon have had a mania as well, because these five good-looking boys just absolutely teared it up worldwide. In fact, between 2011 and 2015, 5 studio albums, 17 singles. All the albums went to number one, estimated to have sold around 70 million albums. So, of course, you've got to get a One Direction song in there, and which one do you go to? What Makes You Beautiful. So we've got a live version of that one below. One Direction actually won 7 Brit Awards, 7 American Music Awards, and 6 Billboard Music Awards. Are pretty successful in the scheme of things and absolutely huge. But, and actually interesting, the name One Direction was proposed by Harry Styles, and the name actually stuck, absolutely. But it was around that 2015 that all the boys had kind of had a bit enough about riding on the crest of the wave for so long. Harry Styles went on his own, getting signed to Columbia Records in 2016. A self-titled album came out in 2017, and of course this album was going to be absolutely huge. It was highly anticipated by the fans, and the song of that album, Sign of the Times, went to number 1 in the singles charts. Sign of the Times reminds me a little bit about Same Mistakes, which was a One Direction hit as well. This song, Sign of the Times, was co-written by Harry Styles. In fact, Harry Styles has written many of his songs. And this just basically talks about what I can make out of it anyway, that, we keep going back to the same thing over and over and over again. We know that things aren't working. We know that things aren't going to work for this thing, but we keep going back to the same thing. Why do we do that? Well, first of all, before we talk about, what's so silly about this, let's just take one step back a bit further and say that us as human beings, as human nature, we don't always know how to do the new thing, how to be the new person, how to do the new thing. We don't always know, do we? And we think, well, we'll just give it another go and we'll see what happens. Well, another go happens and it doesn't happen. We think, well, perhaps we just need to just tweak it slightly and we'll do the same thing again. But it does not seem to happen. And it's only a sign of the times before things just don't work out. So how do we break this cycle of always going back to where you always come? Well, this is the challenge, isn't it? Because if you're in the relationship, you might actually not realise what's actually going on. And you just think, well, I actually have no idea. Maybe the other person's got the idea and I'll just follow them up, but the other person hasn't got the idea either. And next minute, we're still going back to the same place. So get help, guys. If you feel you're in a bit of a rut and you're going back to the same way of trying to do the same thing, get help, because You know, the great thing about third parties is they're on the side of the relationship, not necessarily either person. They're on the side of the relationship. And what does the relationship need? One of the strategies could be, you know, you're sitting on a sofa together and you're looking at yourselves out in the floor. You're saying, what's going on with him and what's going on with her, and try and look at it from an outsider's perspective. And that way you might actually be able to see differences. No, what is it that he's thinking, thinks she? And what is that she's thinking, thinks he? And when you can do that, sometimes you can get a different perspective on the things that need to happen. And the guy's thinking, if only this happened, maybe things would be different. And the girl could be thinking, hey, if only this happened. Maybe you're both thinking the same thing. But we can't keep just going back to the same old. We've got to shake it up if we want things to survive. So, good on you, Harry, for coming out with this song. I think that's what this song's about. It's a bit hard to trick, but it's an incredible song by Harry Styles. An incredible live version below, actually. This guy, you know, he actually has been the most successful of the five of the boys. And he's got a pretty amazing voice. He's got the look, obviously, as well. And because of that, he's had a pretty amazing career. And to be able to co-write some of your own songs as well is pretty cool. Harry Styles still got a live version of Sign of the Times Below. In 2007, he was part of the iconic movie Dunkirk. It's just a British soldier in that, and we've got a movie version of him in Dunkirk below. Out in 2019, the album Fine Line came out. This went to number 2 on the UK chart straight away. And a song of that one, live version of Lights Up. We've got that one below for you as well. In 2022, out came the album Harry's House. It went straight to number 1 in the UK and US charts. And the song As It Was did pretty well. Also number 1 UK, US. And because of that, you know, so we've got the official clip of As It Was below. Now, Harry Styles says that he is very influenced by the video we did last time, Harry Nilsson, how amazingly these things work out. Harry Styles is renowned for his unusually energetic performance. He really doesn't rip it up big time. He is a pop icon, fashion icon, and he's one of the few artists to successfully transition from boy band to solo artist. He's out of his 313 nominations, he's won 132 times, including American Music Awards, APRA and ARIA Awards in Australia, Billboard Music Awards, BMI Music Awards, as well as 3 Grammy Awards. So very influential in the scheme of things, and this guy is still going. He's been doing this thing ever since 2010 when X Factor started. And, you know, he's been actually had a career for around 12 years. So it's good to see that this guy is still going and, you know, getting just not acknowledgement by the fans, but also by the industry as well as a very significant artist, which is pretty cool. Australia, US and the UK. So it's good to give this guy a bit of a go today. So the links to those, how many we've got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clips are in the description below. And I've also included my last video from Harry Nilsson, so if you want to recap on him, feel free. Well, if this is your first time to Live Reflections through Music, or you've come back for another one, how great to see you all back, or come here for the first time. Next time we're going to go onto Australian act The Cruel Sea. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.